What up, YouTube fam? Never Torpid fam. It's Torpid here, bringing you another Torpid PvP guide featuring Paradise 1, Rank 1 Hunter, Rank 1 Dooter Magooter. Again, I'm saying this every time. We're bringing you some really nice people. Make sure you check out Paradise's stream. It's down below. He's 3200 in solo shuffle. He's constantly spamming high-rated threes. He's a really nice guy. He's super interactive with the chat, and he'll help you with Hunter. He's going to teach us Marksman today, and by the time you're watching this, there should be a Beast Mastery and a Survival Hunter guide out within a couple days of this guide. We're going to get all three out for you for 10.07. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments. I am new to YouTube and I'm trying to grow on YouTube, but I want to grow helping you guys. So I can't do it without your support, subbing to the channel, and some guidance in the comments with what you want to see. Let me know. We stream every day live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Torpid. We are the Never Torpid fam, which means never lazy, never lethargic, wanting it for yourself so that once you take care of yourself, you can start taking care of others. All right, so one thing we say is you gotta want it, and Paradise helped us want it for this guide. Enjoy the Hunter guide. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so the stat priority for Hunter is going to be Mastery. Mastery is larger range for Hunters and more damage. Now, it's important to note that Paradise 1's using the 2 set, not the 4 set. The 4 set's kind of meh, and he actually recommends getting the 2 set and then getting your other pieces that have better stats on them. So you're going to see all his gear here. Keep in mind when you're gearing your Hunter, or if you're not able to get some of the pieces he has, you're looking to get Mastery and Verse as your top priority stats. Other than that, everything is here with the enchants and the gear you're striving to get. If we scroll down really quickly, I'll let you see his Mastery, Haste, and Crit, and everything he has. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention was you want to use the insignia of Alacrity. I don't know what it's called. You want to use this thing instead of the badge, but if you play a human hunter like he does into stuns, he actually takes his trinket away and he runs badge and the haste proc trinket. So keep that in mind. It's all in one spot for you. Compare your gear and make sure your guys set up before moving forward. Let's get into the rest of the guide. All right, so if you're brand new to Marksman Hunter, wondering if you should get into Marksman Hunter, this little part of the guide is for you. This is going to be the basic knowledge and understanding of Hunter. So first things first, Hunters have a focus bar, which is completely unique to Hunter. All your abilities are going to cost focus with some generating your focus bar, okay? Later in the guide, we're going to show you the rotation so you can manage your focus bar and kind of some direction with that. For now, that's all you need to know. Hunters are going to use a bow or a gun, and they're a ranged class that can hit a target from extremely far away. The Mastery lets us shoot further and further, so make sure you take advantage of just how far you can shoot from the distance. But let me get back in for the visual. The first ability we're going to cover is Aim Shot. So now Aim Shot's going to be one of your strongest abilities, and right now it's going to be a cast that absolutely cranks them, and with certain builds applies poison to them. Outside of your Aim Shot, you're going to have your Arcane Shot, which is going to just be an instant cast. So unlike the Aim Shot, the Arcane Shot is instant. And then your Rapid Fire is going to shoot a bunch at once, and you can cast while moving the Rapid Fire. So these three are going to be your main abilities that you're going to see in the breakdown later in the guide. We also have Volley, which is going to shoot an AoE volley from the sky. And then we have Kill Shot. Now, Kill Shot requires the enemy to be below 25% HP. And later in the video, you'll see how you can get some Kill Shot procs throughout the guide as well. But keep in mind, Kill Shot is your big execute. Now, unfortunately, nothing in here has low enough HP for me to show you. But Kill Shot's your other ability. So these are going to be your main basic Hunter damaging abilities. Your main Hunter offensive CDs are going to be Death Chakram, which Death Chakram, when it bounces between, it's going to do damage, and when it bounces between these people, its damage is going to be increased, and it's going to generate more focus for you. So if I just go ahead and lose some focus here, I'll just cast 2 aim shots on this target dummy. When I cast our Death Chakram here, you're going to see it shoot out and go between everybody, and you can see it's regenerating my focus at the top. So Death Chakram is going to be a big part of our build, and then True Shot Aura is essentially going to allow us to cast Aim Shot faster. While it generates, we're going to get 50 additional focus, and we're going to do increased critical damage. So what it looks like is you will true shot, and then your aim shots are going to be now much faster and hitting much stronger. And you can see right now with the build, our arcane shots lighting up because we're going to get some procs, but we're going to talk about that later as well. Counter shot, I almost said counter strike. Counter shot at the top right is going to be your ranged kick. So you're going to be using this to lock out enemy healers or to lock out enemy casters. These are your 4 defensives. You're going to have Aspect of the Turtle, which is going to put a shell around you. We're going to get into more detail about this later, but while you're shelled up, nothing can harm you. You're going to have Survival of the Fittest, which is going to reduce all the damage you take by 40%. You're going to have Exhilaration, which is going to heal you and your pet. And then you're going to have Roar of Sacrifice, which is one of the best defensives in the game. And while Roar of Sacrifice is on you, you're able to receive no crits and reduce damage by 10%. But it requires a pet. As you see, I can't show you. So that leads us to hunters having pets. Hunters have amazing, amazing pets, and we're going to dive into that later, of course. You can see here I've got my bird out. So Jim, when he's out, I'm going to be able to put Roar of Sacrifice onto myself. I'll go ahead and click Trap Shot, and I'll apply the Roar of Sacrifice. And while Roar is on me, immune to critical strikes, and the damage is transferred to the hunter's pet. So absolutely insane. You can see I called my pet here, and our pet utility button is going to allow us to tame pets, heal pets, and then there's some interactions outside of PvP that you'll be able to do as well. Dismiss them, the beast lore, all the good stuff. So hunter pets are controlled by the action bar you see down here. And I actually have his attack is usually right here in control 1, but I've dragged it to a separate keybind so I can send him in on the charge to this training dummy and then send him over here by pressing this attack button. And we're going to get more into the pet later. The other thing hunters are marksman from afar, pet masters, and trap masters. So you can see here I have a freezing trap that when I throw it at the enemy, it's going to freeze them. And I have a tar trap that's going to snare them when it lands. So these are the 2 basic traps for hunter. And then the last thing that's going to be talked about later on is feign death. So by pressing feign death, it's going to look as if you died, and there's going to be a couple different uses for this that we're going to talk about. So if you understand that hunters require focus, if you understand that the basic abilities, the aim shot, the arcane shot, the rapid fire, the volley, the kill shot, if you understand the 2 offensive CDs, if you understand the hunter kick, the 4 defensives here, the 2 traps, and the feign death, you're going to have an easy time following everything that I'm about to show you right now as we get into the different builds, the different burst rotations, the downtime, the true defensives, detailed, everything we're going to talk about, but giving that little bit of knowledge should make you a bit more comfortable as we jump into it. Okay, guys, so we're going to cover 3 different builds, but the first build we're going to cover is the explosive shot build. I'm going to tell you what it's strong into, and I'm going to break it down for you. So go ahead. In the description below, it'll say explosive shot, and it'll post the import string. Come down here, come into import, post the string that's in the description below, name it Paradise1, whatever you want to name it, import it, and it's going to look like this, and we're going to go through the explosive shot cranks. That's all I got to say. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take you through the burst rotation and then go into detail about why the burst rotation works, and I'm going to go into detail about the talents and then what you do in the downtime with this build as Marksman Hunter. Now, the first thing I want to mention is that this build is extremely strong for cleaving, and it's primarily used into double melee cleave. So let's walk through. Right here, I'm going to just talk about the rotation, then break it down. So we're going to chakram into an explosive shot, into a true shot aura, and then we're going to aim shot, arcane shot, rapid fire, and cycle that. Aim shot, arcane shot, rapid fire, and then cycle that. Aim shot, arcane shot, and then rapid fire. And something really quickly to note is my hunter's super undergeared, so this is going to go a lot faster and hit a lot harder for you. And you will have a pet out during this. I just don't have the pet out so that it looks a bit cleaner right now on the screen. So let's walk through why this is the rotation. First of all, Chakram is going to give you at least 10% increased damage on your abilities. Explosive shot, it's super important you guys understand this, is dispellable. So when you do your big go, you should always be striving towards this, but remember it's extra important with Hunter because a good healer will dispel explosive shot, which is a primary source of your damage. So we explosive shot first so that it explodes because it has a duration with our aim shot and arcane shot doing that burst damage that we want. Then we're going to True Shot Aura for all the buffs of True Shot, our best offensive CD for Hunter. And then we're going to Aim Shot. And after we Aim Shot, we're always going to get a proc on our Arcane Shot. So if I go ahead here and show you with an Aim Shot, we're always going to now get a proc for the Arcane. And we only Arcane Shot when it's lit up like this because it does 75% more damage. And then we Rapid Fire next. And note you can move while Rapid Firing. But Rapid Fire stacks with the True Shot and increases the next cast of your Aim Shot. So if we read it really quick, Rapid Fire causes your next Aim Shot to cast 30% faster. So we're mixing and weaving all of these abilities together during our True Shot Aura only. Now, outside of our True Shot Aura, this is what you're going to do in the downtime. You're going to have Chakram every 45 seconds. You're going to have Explosive Shot every 30 seconds. But remember, it's dispellable. So you really only throw the Explosive Shot out during the downtime when you know it's not going to be dispelled. And then Rapid Fire, Aim Shot, Arcane Shot during your downtime, and Tranquilizing Shot. Purging them non-stop, it doesn't cost any focus off CD, is extremely strong. And then the other couple utility I want to show you is this build. Again, it's a melee cleave into a melee cleave. Comes with Salvo, which your next multi-shot or volley, and in this case we're always going to use volley, applies Explosive Shot to 2 targets. So you're going to press Salvo and then you're going to volley and 2 Explosive Shots go on them. And we get the Trick Shots, which our next Aim Shot or Rapid Fire will ricochet and hit 5 targets. So you're going to be able to Salvo in the downtime, apply the Explosive Shot with the volley, and then Aim Shot or Rapid Fire to cleave the targets down, okay? And the last thing is Sentinel Owl. Right now, I can't hit these training dummies because they're not in line. But with Sentinel Owl, we are able to throw our Sentinel Owl down, and now we can hit them through LOS. You can see I'm shooting through this pillar, okay? So that's why I have Sentinel Owl here. And then, again, just to highlight, I can't remember if I did, but just to really get it, drive it home. Let me get back in position. Your Kill Shot, crit damage is increased by 25%, and with Death Blow, your Aim Shot is a 15% and Rapid Fire is a 25% to grant a stack of Kill Shot. During your True Shot Aura, if you ever get a Kill Shot proc, you're going to use it right away. And keep in mind, you're also going to have Lock and Load, so sometimes you're going to get a free Aim Shot as well, which you're definitely going to want to press, okay? So this is the Explosive Shot, Volley, Salvo, mixed in with the Sentinel Owl onto melee cleaves, onto being able to get that big damage across. And if you just do not forget that your Explosive Shot can be dispelled with this build, that's super crucial. You're nailing your CC. Okay, guys, so you saw the build before into the melee cleave. Now let's go through pure single target. I'm going to go ahead and show you the talent differences first. So we've removed Explosive Shot, and we've removed Volley and our Salvo, and we've added single target pressure. Now we've added Serpent Sting and Poison Injection alongside increased critical strike chance from Hunter's Knowledge. So Hunter's Knowledge is passive. Nothing's going to change there. We still have the Kill Shot procs coming from our Death Blow. We still have the Lock and Load, Aim Shot procs coming from Lock and Load. So let's just talk about the difference here, which is going to be our Serpent Sting and our Poison Injection, okay? So what's going to happen is through Poison Injection, you're going to start building stacks onto the enemy. And when you get 10 stacks, your Aim Shot's going to consume that 10 stacks to do increased nature damage, adding to that single target. So you'll notice here that the DPS rotation is the exact same minus the Explosive Shot as the build before. Now, Serpent Sting over here on the right is not part of your True Shot go because Aimed Shot is going to apply Serpent Sting for you. So I'll just give you a quick show of that. You can see here it applied both of our Latent Poison and our Serpent Sting to the target, and it's going to go ahead and it's going to start stacking, and then we're going to consume that stack with another Aim Shot. So very easy to follow along. You're going to get increased crit, and the Aim Shot and the burst rotation is going to have everything built in for you, so nothing's going to be different. You're going to Chakram, True Shot, Aim Shot, into an Arcane Shot, into a Rapid Fire, into another Aim Shot, into an Arcane, and it's going to be consuming those stacks during your burst. And then what's going to be different here is you're going to be Serpent Stinging in your downtime to make sure you keep a Serpent Sting up on the enemy, right? If you can't get an aim shot cast, if you're kiting, mixing in your rapid fire and arcane shots, you mix in now a Serpent Sting with it. And of course, guys, anytime a kill shot proc happens, at any time, that's always your first priority. Now, the other minor change is Steady Shot now generates 10 focus. So Paradise wanted me to cover that Steady Shot does no damage at all, but it does generate 10 focus if you find yourself getting energy focused. And I showed you guys the owl in the guide before. I can't shoot through the wall, but if I drop the owl, I can shoot through the wall now. With this build, we're taking another talent called Sentinel's Perception that allows your teammates to shoot through the wall as well. So even a Disc Priest getting a Mind Games through the wall while they're trying to line, or those powerful penances, or say you're running double Hunter and the other Hunter's shooting through the wall, say you're running Frost Mage, he's pumping through the wall, whatever it may be. The other change to this build is we're running that Sentinel's Perception for our teammates. Other than that, if you paid attention in the build before, this build's very similar in play style because the aim shots just add the Serpent Stings, and now you just need to know that you have increased crit and more single target damage through your poison. So very much the same. Make sure you're tranking off CD and keep pumping. You'll really start to see the damage of the poisons when you compare the single target to the AoE. And remember that single target damage is a little easier to pull off because the explosive shot, as I mentioned before, can be dispelled. So please don't forget that. Okay, so let's go through the last build for the RBG fam. I love RBGs. I'm going to walk you through what it looks like. First things first, in an RBG, there's typically tons of team fighting. There's more than 3 guys and a lot of times in the game. So I'm going to walk you through the talent tree swap that we have here. Now at the bottom left, we had Poison Injection for our single target build, and we had Explosive for our double melee. In this build, we're going to have Explosive Shot, and we're also going to have Hydra's Bite. Now, Hydra's Bite is going to apply 2 Serpent Stings. When we cast Serpent Sting, and in RBGs, there's going to be more than one person. And we're also going to run into a multi-shot build. So let me walk you through it, okay? The first thing I didn't do was add Explosive Shot. So let me just... Oh, I have it here. But we're going to want Explosive Shot in our burst window that I'm going to show you. So, hear me out. A little bit different this time. We're going to Explosive Shot. Then we're going to Chakram, True Shot Aura, Aim Shot. Instead of the Arcane Shot, now we have Multi-Shot into a Rapid Fire, into an Aim Shot, into a Multi-Shot, into a Rapid Fire, into an Aim Shot, back into a Multi-Shot, into a Rapid Fire. Now, I did it a little slow there. Now, what that's going to do is be cleaving all the time. Why? Because this time we're actually spec'd into tricks shots. So, when multi-shot hits 3 or more targets, your next aim shot or rapid fire will ricochet and hit up to 5 additional targets for 55%. So, here's what you need to know. Explosive Shot's going to be cleaving everybody in RBG. Chakra's going to be cleaving everybody in RBG. True Shot Aura is going to buff you. Your aim shot is going to apply double Serpent Sting. And then your multi-shot's going to make your next rapid fire or aim shot cleave enemies. Now, in RBG, sometimes you're not going to be fighting more than 3. Typically, you're going to be in team fight as Hunter, but sometimes you might be sitting in base, and sometimes you might be floating or in a 2v2 situations and off guard, something like that. So, Arcane Shot and Multi-Shot replace each other in this burst window. You multi-shot during the True Shot when it's a team fight, but you would Arcane Shot when it's single fire because there's no point of doing the multi-shot, and the Arcane Shot's going to do more damage single target. Now, again, if you ever get any kill shot procs, you're going to want to use those immediately, and then in the downtime, you're going to be cycling through your multi-shot and your volley. Your volley also going to be applying the trick shots, and your multi-shot going to be applying trick shots. Now, the multi-shot applies it for much longer than the volley, so you're going to have to be quick. And then in your downtime, throwing those explosive shots out, reapplying Serpent Sting to somebody. Now, I wouldn't apply Serpent Sting too much, but you are going to want to keep it up. And you can see the normal Serpent Sting also applies. But in RBG, typically you can get enough aim shots out, and the aim shots are going to apply it. So the Serpent Sting, it's a little on the fence. You'll start to get a feel for when it's right. And then I already talked about Arcane Shot up here, okay? So this is the RBG Cleave build. You can see the multi-shots into the rapid fires cleaving. You can see your Chakram's actually going to be bouncing between the targets. in the RBG build. So those are the changes. Hydra's Bite, Explosive Shot, then our multi-shot and our volley with selecting trick shots. And the last thing that's super important is taking Lone Wolf. Now, for the first 2 rotations, I didn't have my pet out because the pet is actually extremely important. But we're going to talk about the pet separately and what it brings to the table. But for the RBG build, you're not going to use a pet, and you're going to have that 10% increased dam. In Arena, you always want your pet out. In RBGs, you run Lone Wolf. But if you get caught sitting a base, or if you get caught needing a freedom, you're going to be able to swap your pet out and get that utility from your pet. But for just team fighting, you're going to be rocking with Lone Wolf. So let me know what you guys think. We love RBGs. This build is perfect for RBGs. Paradise actually has a soft spot for RBGs too. We got a good crew running them, so have a lot of fun out there, guys. All right, so I just want to take you through the Hunter CC and maybe walk you through something you may or may not know. The first thing you're going to recognize Hunters for are their traps. So you have 3 different ones. We have our Frozen Trap here, which is going to CC them. You're going to see a lot of Hunters trying to use this on healers. You have Steel Trap, that when they get stuck in Steel Trap, it's physical. So they're not going to be able to get out of this with a Dispel. Now the Tar Trap is dispellable, but it's going to be rooting. And this is dispellable, but typically they're not going to dispel it too often. So you're going to be looking to Freezing Trap healers. Steel Trap DPS. Now you can use this to trap a healer behind a pillar. You could use this to trap a DPS lurking behind a pillar. A lot of different uses. Tar Trap, typically you Tar Trap the melee that are chasing you and then you disengage while they're rooted. You're also going to have the ability to cast Scatter. Now, something to note is when you scatter an enemy, it puts Trap on DR. So Trap won't be 7 seconds. Instead, it's going to be the 4 there. Now, I talked to Paradise, and typically you're going to be looking to only scatter into Trap into certain comps where you don't think you'll get much value out of stunning into Trap. Example, like a Demon Hunter would be reversing the magic. They would know as soon as you stun that you're going to drop a trap. So you would just scatter to interrupt them and then trap to mess with them really quickly. But typically what you're looking to do is use your pet stun. And while they're stunned, then you trap out of it. And when you throw the trap, your pet will automatically de-aggro. The other ability we have is called Chimera Sting. Now at the bottom right, you see that it's going to first slow their movement by 90%. And then after 3 seconds, it's going to silence them. And then after another 3 seconds, it's going to give them a 20% reduction of damage and healing. So let me show you. I hit her with it. She's slowed for 90%. Now she's silenced for 3 seconds. And then she's got Viper Venom for 3 seconds. So when that comes back up, CD, I'm going to show you a very cool combo for the CC. Your other ability is cast a heal. Your other CC is when she casts a heal, you kick it and stop the cast with your counter shot. And then you can always keep your concussive up on the enemy, keeping that non-stop movement slow on them. And I'm counting these as CC because if you put a Huntress Mark onto a rogue, or if you keep the flare on him, you're not CCing him, but you kind of are because you're not allowing him to get that re-stealth without them needing to use a Dispel or for him to cloak off any effects that might be on him. Now, something that I thought was really cool that Paradise taught me is you can stun and then Chimera Sting them. And when you stun them and then sting them, by the time the stun ends, they're in a silence. So what you can do sometimes is stun, right? And then Chimera Sting right at the 3 seconds. Now, if I had better gear, it'd be a bit faster. And out of the stun, they're silenced. So there's a couple combinations. You're going to use it offensively. You're going to use it to peel sometimes when you're on the back foot. These are the main strengths of the Hunter CC kit. Let's walk through the Hunter defensives and the Hunter utility. So the first one and the main one is Feign Death. Now, Feign Death on its own is just going to have you play dead, essentially. Your character is going to fall over. But what that's going to translate to is dropping combat. If there's a CC coming on you like a polymorph and you Feign Death, I'm going to show you in 1 second, your guy will avoid the CC. And to take it a step further, we're always going to be playing survival tactics. So while Feign Death... let me rephrase this. Feign Death dispels all harmful magic. So one part of it is you can Feign Death and get all magic dots off you. But the other half is it's like a mini cheat death for 1.5 seconds. So for 90%. So let me just give you a couple thought-provocative suggestions here. If a Chaos Bolt's coming on you, you're going to be able to Feign Death and it'll have a 90% reduction on it. If you turtle and you come out of turtle and you still aren't topped in health, you can feign death. If an enemy is casting a polymorph on you, like I said, you can feign death. And all it looks like is right here, you're falling, but it's on a 30-second CD, and it's going to constantly give you that 90% mini wall or mini duration wall, and it's going to dispel all harmful magic effects. The next thing we talked about this is the Sentinel Owl, which when placed down, allows you to shoot through walls. So another insane utility. And if spec, your teammates can shoot through walls. The next thing is Cheetah, running around getting max speed initially and for a little bit after. You're going to typically camouflage at the start of an arena or when you're sitting a base in a battleground. There are very rare times where you could feign death into a camouflage because feign death will remove some magic. So it depends what you're facing, and maybe you feign death and get a camo. Paradise wasn't really sure how often this is going to happen for you guys, but it is a thought process you can do. You're going to have disengage, so talking about jumping away from those melee and then getting the speed, or disengaging towards a healer to disengage and trap. You're going to have bursting shot, which is going to knock the enemies away. You can knock them into traps. You could knock the Warlock. Let's say the Warlock's casting a Chaos Bolt and he's got his aura up. You could knock him off of his cast as well. And we just covered this, but it's so good I need to really cover it again, is Chimera Sting for your utility, which is going to apply the slow, and then it's going to apply the silence, and then it's going to apply the Mortal Strike. Another great piece of utility. Men Pet, when you're facing comps that are cleaving your pet, you're pretty much pressing Men Pet off CD to keep your pet alive. Keeping your pet alive is super important, and we'll talk about that why. Sometimes you're going to be able to play dead with your pet in the very rarest of situations. Your pet needs to be up to freedom healers. So if you're facing like a Boomkin, and your Boomkins will try to clone your pet and then root beam the healer so you can't freedom the healer out of the beam. But you could play dead and cause your pet to die and then wake him back up to avoid the clone. Some super next level stuff Paradise wanted me to cover for you guys. The other piece of utility is, we talked about this in all three breakdowns, but you're always trank shotting, purging the enemy. And then your 4 key defensives are turtle. Now, if an ability is in the air and you turtle, it will hit you. But once turtled, no abilities then being casted are going to be able to hit you. Exhilaration is going to be increased health for you and your pet. Survival of the Fittest is a 40% reduction wall. And then your best CD, Roar of Sacrifice. When your pet's up, you can place Roar of Sacrifice onto somebody, and they cannot be crit with a little bit of reduced damage. So these are the utilities, and these are the defensives of Hunter for Marksman. The 4 PvP pets you need. There couldn't be a better website for finding pets. It's PETOPIA, thanks to Paradise. And I'm going to walk you through the website. But first, on my advanced notepad, I've put together the best 4 PvP pets. Now, we're not telling you which pet to take, but we're telling you to take the pets with the following. Number 1, what you're going to use the most is your Cunning pet, which has mortal wounds, so it reduces the target's healing received and provides your team with the freedom. Number 2, a Tenacity pet. Now, Tenacity pets with the mortal wounds increase your stamina and heal. You want a Ferocity pet, which is 10% leech plus Mortal Strike. And you want an Undead Cunning pet. So just like number 1, except Undead with mortal wounds, because it can't be CC'd with Hibernate. Although they're not using it too often, you're going to want to have it anyways for the future. However, Undead is not good into Paladins or any class with an Undead CC. Paladins have a couple abilities that do really screw over Undead pets. So you're going to swap mostly between your number 1 and number 4. Number 3 is extremely strong versus like Shadow Priest and Warlock. Getting that 10% leech against dot classes that you're not really running to or from. So Ferocity pets are going to be best into that. And then Tenacity pets, Paradise honestly doesn't use too often right now. He uses a little bit in Solo Shuffle, a little bit into Jungle Mirrors. If you go to his stream, you'll be able to ask him a little bit more in depth and watch him use it. So the main things are Freedom and Mortal Strike, but swapping between the Undead and the Cunning pet. And then Ferocity pet into certain dot classes with Tenacity for the stam. Now, disclaimer, to get an Undead class, you need to get a Tome of the Bone Binding. To loot this tome, to be able to get Undead, it drops off all the mobs in Maldraxxus and the bosses in Plaguefall. This is Shadowlands content. You only need one for your entire account, and to find the undead raptor that you may or may not want, there's one in the last boss in King's Rest, which is the Zuldazar dungeon. So go ahead, read that over. Everything's explained. Now let me show you the website PETOPIA. So up at the top, we're going to go to talents and skills and go to family abilities. And here under family abilities, we have our cunning pets, as I mentioned, our ferocity, and our tenacity on the top. Now on the left side, we're going to scroll down to find mortal wounds, because in arena, you always want to be reducing the target's healing, and it's going to give you the options that you can get for each one. So if I scroll back up, you can see the first section is cunning. So for mortal wounds and cunning, to get our freedom and our mortal strike, we can choose between a hyena, a raptor, or a rodent. And then the same thing is true for the mortal wounds for the tenacity and the mortal wounds for the ferocity, okay? If you get all 4 pets, you're going to have your pets ready for every single PvP situation. Again, with this website, you're going to be able to sort it, and you can do a couple other really fun things on this website. So if you're a hunter, have a look at the website and enjoy it. It'll be in the description below. So we just talked about the 4 PvP pets you're striving to get, and now let's talk about your pet. When you summon up your buddy, I'm going to call Jim here. When I summon Jim, I get this pet bar at the bottom, and let me just see if I can make that any bigger for you guys. Icon size. Okay, perfect. Let's do that so we can see here at the YouTube. So I've made my pet bar ginormous. Now here's what Paradise wants you to know. The first thing is for Marks, he doesn't bind his attack to an ability. A lot of people end up binding their attack to their ability, but with Marks, keeping your mortal strike up and your pet damage is good, but it's not the ends. I don't know what the saying is. It's not super important. So it's actually better, and he recommends to have attacks separately so you can send your attack on your kill target. But if this guy's drinking over here, you have a separate keybind to move your bird over there. Jim's flying over there to stop his drink. And then you can recall him with the passive ability. The other 2 things that you're going to want off the CD are your pet's dash. Again, if you're stopping a drink, you don't want your pet just dashing the entire time throughout the arena because he's already caught up with the guy. But if you need to send him somewhere far, or if they're kiting you, you want dash on a separate button to zoom him in. And then you want taunt on a separate button because you can taunt a lot of things in the game. You could taunt an enemy pet, for example, and taunt him off of your teammate for a second. So taunt, growl, which is taunt, and dash are off. You're always going to have Bloody Screech and your pet's bite attack or melee attack equipped, okay? And then, now this is some advanced stuff, but I want to cover it quickly so at least you know about it. Maybe some of you can pull this off. You cannot Roar of Sacrifice if your pet's in CC, okay? But if you know a Windwalker is running at you and it's a linear attack, you know he's going to leg sweep you, you can actually move your pet out of the way. So when you get leg swept, you can then Roar of Sacrifice yourself. Another example would be if a mage is putting down a ring and you can see your pet running towards it, you could move him away for a minute, and that way your pet's not CC'd for the Roar of Sacrifice. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. I'm having an absolute blast, but I'm stumbling some words. So this is the pet bar. That's what we recommend doing. Attack separately. We recommend having those abilities separate with 2 on, 2 off. Keep in mind you can move your pet for the freedom, but it's very difficult. So I'm not going to go any further. That's your pet bar. Okay, guys, for your macros, when you are trapping the enemy, we're going to give you guys some cursor macros. And what these are going to do is they're going to look exactly like this. Show tooltip, cast at cursor freezing trap. So this trap right here is the normal trap. And when I click it, it shows you the green, and then you re-click it to replace it. With the cursor macros, and it'll be listed below, but here it is again on the left side while I'm talking. I'm going to press my number 1 key down here at the bottom left of my screen, and you can see my cursor is going to be read on this training dummy, okay? As soon as I press number 1, it just shoots the trap. So this is called a cursor macro. This way, your freezing traps are instant. This way, your tar trap and your steel trap are also instant. Now, with some abilities, it's nice to see the green circle in the range, but you're going to get a feel for freezing trap, and you're not going to want to have to spend that extra click to get it down. So instead, you're just going to point your finger at where they're scattered or stunned, and just press your number 1, and it's just going to huck the freezing trap out like that. These macros are super handy. And something else I wanted to cover is there's a lot of focus kick macros, but I think that's going to be a separate guide because that's its own thing about getting keybind set up and focus kick. So I'm going to work on it in the future, but the cursor macros for the traps are a very handy thing that you could add today with little time and high reward. Okay, guys, so the top 3 current races for Hunter are Dark Iron Dwarf and their racial, Night Elf and their racial, always play Night Elf female, they look badass, and Human and their racial. However, there's some speculation that Orc may or may not be nerfed by the time that Blizzard releases their CC reduction patch. So if you didn't know, there's a big patch coming out that's reducing CC for every class in the game. And the Orc racial already has a pre-built-in CC reduction. So Orc may become the best for Hunter in almost every class if it doesn't get changed. So those are the best 3 for now. But in the future, in 10.01, Orc may be best for a lot of classes. Okay, so Notepad isn't the cleanest way to do this, but when I tried to edit it on the screen, it didn't look very good. So I'm sticking to Notepad for now. Support the YouTube. We'll try to get something better. But the top 3 comps for Hunter are Jungle, which is Hunter, Feral, and Disc Priest. Thug Cleave, which is Hunter, Sub, and Disc. And tied at number 3 is Shadow, Hunter, Resto Druid, or Ret, Hunter, Priest. These classes all synergize extremely well with Hunter CC, and the other comps bring a lot to the table in terms of damage or even more CC. Disc Priest really allows you to stay offensive, and our Druid really allows you to survive long and to set up the CC. So if you're playing one of these 3 or 4 comps technically, you're going to be in a good spot for Hunter. When it comes to add-ons, you want to make sure you have a very clean screen with the add-ons that bring you the best information. Now, it's hard to explain this in one video, so I've made an amazing PvP add-on video. It's on my YouTube. It has over 20,000 views, and it's going to walk you through the main add-ons that all the pros or rank ones, however you want to call them, are using. And the reason is it gives them the information they need without being overkill. So in the description below will be a link to that add-on guide. Check it out and get your stuff set up the way a lot of great arena players are. Okay, so the weak ore we're going to send you is quite simple but quite effective. It's a better version of Blizzard's personal resource bar right here that's going to have your HP and your focus. So down below there'll be a link to the weak ore, and it's going to give you your HP and focus bar right there, nice and clean, center of your screen.